Hey friends, Jonathan Neal Fitness here, and welcome back once again to Myofascial Mondays. Today we're going to be working on an area that, again, many people have at least heard of. It's a little strip of connective tissue going down the side of the leg called the IT band, or otherwise known as the iliotibial band or iliotibial tract, whatever you want to call it. It's essentially a nice, really thick piece of tissue that runs from the hip. It actually originates in that TFL that we covered last week. That tensor fascial latae really kind of flows into these fibers that run down into the side of the knee down here. So it's that just kind of, you can even, in a lot of cases, you can even kind of feel it in there. There's kind of this long strip that goes down the side of the thigh. This tends to be tight in a lot of people, and it tends to be one of these areas that, especially if we do a lot of running or a lot of other stuff like that, it gets bound up. A lot of runners have issues with this. And even if you don't run or you don't do any of those things, of course, this is something we at least want to explore, but we also want to be relatively careful with this one. What we really are looking for is trying to, of course, as we always do, get in there, find some spots and enact some release. I just find that sometimes when we get to the point in the IT band that gets pretty close to the knee up here, sometimes when we put pressure on that, people don't feel so good in the knee itself. So for that reason, I try to stay away from the actual knee. I find that there's plenty of stuff to work with, plenty of those adhesions, plenty of those little knots, if you will, down kind of in the meaty part of the middle of the thigh, and that's pretty far away from any joint, so it should be okay. So the way that we're going to get into this, there's a couple different ways you could do it. The way I like to do it is basically by getting either in this shape right here, where I kind of got my right leg here folded, I got my left leg out. If you can, if it doesn't hurt this knee, you're welcome to fold this one back and to get kind of, I like to think of it's almost like a pinwheel type shape with the legs, little arrows coming off like that. But once we have that, either way you want to do it, we're going to lift that leg. And then again, I want to be pretty much just like a nice stripe right down the side of the thigh here. And I'm going to go right down in the middle to start. And then I'm just going to place the ball under there. And then I'm basically just going to lean into it. And then I can even use this left hand to kind of press down. And I'm just going to explore a little bit, as we always do, through these tissues until I find that nice little spot, that tender spot. I got one right there. So I'm just going to let it sit right there. Now, as always, it's not about how hard you can possibly push into it. So we're not worried about jamming this ball as deep in the thigh. And again, we really don't want to go too aggressive, especially right away. What we want to do is find that spot and then sit on it. It's more about consistency than intensity. It might feel pretty strong, and this is a pretty strong feeling, but I'm not really pushing that hard. I'm just getting enough that I actually feel that reaction. I feel it register, that little bit of tenderness there, and then I'm just going to sit there and be patient until it gives way. Now, that being said, once it starts to give way, I can start to feel this spot right now starting to kind of loosen up a little bit. It's not hurting. That kind of intense tenderness that I felt at the beginning is starting to go away. So from there, I might want to explore pushing a little harder, because this is a thicker and meatier area of the body, the side of the thigh. There's plenty of tissue there. We can get a little deep in there, but we just don't want to rush our way in, is really the thing. So I let that first release happen, and maybe I push a little deeper, and yeah, in fact, I do find some more stuff in there, so I'm going to continue to just lay that pressure in. But again, even as I go deeper, I only go as far as I need to in order to get to that tender point, and then it's just a patience game. I just sit there and I wait, and when that spot finally starts to release, I can either push deeper again, or maybe I even just move a little bit up. Oof, another one right there. So this is definitely an area that, even as much as I do this, I still got some stuff here. This is a good area to work on and just explore. And if you find any of those little spots, any of those little knots, get in there and get them going. Of course, as always, even if you feel like one side is a lot tighter, if you're like, I'm sure that my right side is the tight one and feels tight, I still highly encourage you to explore both sides, because a lot of times that feeling that we have might not give us an accurate representation of what's actually happening. So get the ball in there, try both sides. As always, if you find any spot, just get in there and get them done, get them released. And then, when you get up, stand up after that, as always, move around a little bit, notice how it feels. You always want to notice in a way, what is the result of the work that I've done? So anyway, that's your release for the IT band here. I hope you guys can implement this. I know that if you do, it will help you out. Again, a very commonly tight area. Just be mindful about how you do it. Take the time and just go layer by layer. No rush. Just being consistent and being accurate. So once again, this has been Jonathan Neal Fitness. If you like this kind of content, go ahead and click like. If you want to see more of it, you can go ahead and subscribe, and I'll be releasing these again every Monday. That being said, next Monday I will be out of town, so I won't be getting there Monday. We'll be seeing you on Tuesday instead. So I'll see you guys next week. Thanks so much for watching, and have a wonderful day or night wherever you are.